Namaste. Hello everyone, I'm Robert Halley, performing artist, certified yoga teacher, health and life coach. But more importantly, I'm here as a friend and guide to support you and to walk with you in this thing we call life. Greetings on this gift of day, Friday, March 20th, 2020. Hope this finds you well, in alignment and balance as best as can be during these challenging times. I personally needed a lot of time, still need that time to really process and take care of myself and to understand what perspectives of the moment do I take into my heart and what perspectives do I need to keep cultivated. All in all, it is spring. So happy spring equinox. Not sure where you are in the world. However, here in Toronto, it is actually going to be up to 17 today with crazy winds. There's a lot of clouds and rain. So definitely the winds of change. Always something to reflect on with that, especially during this challenging time that I will be light about. I do want to acknowledge from the multicultural calendar that honors traditions of the earth, diversity and inclusion. So bear with me as we learn about this day. So internationally, it is spring equinox. May we hold those seeds of rebirth and hope within us. No matter what is happening, no matter these challenging times, it is spring and we can still hold those seeds of birth and rebirth and transformation. So I invite you to meditate on that, hold that during this time. It is, with the Wicca tradition, it is Estre, pardon my pronunciation, a fertility festival celebrating the birth of spring. The word Easter is derived from the pre-Christian goddess Estre. Traditions including lighting rings of fire at sunrise, ringing bells, and decorating hard-boiled eggs, an ancient pagan custom associated with the goddess. The Shinto tradition, which is an ancient Japanese tradition, Shunki Soreisai. Ancestors are given reverence at home altars and considered active members of the living family. Grave sites are cleaned and purified. How wonderful. Another Japanese tradition is Shunbun no Hi. During the time of spring equinox, Buddhists meditate on the harmony in the universe. How relevant, right? We can all join in on that tradition. In New Zealand, the indigenous peoples, the Maori, they celebrate Puturangi. This is the fall season and autumn equinox in the Maori calendar where they harvest their crops. Great feasting and celebration goes on at this time of year. And finally, it is Nowruz, which is New Year for Afghanistan, Iran, Baha'i, Islam, Ismaili, Zoroastrian. Nowruz means new day and is the traditional celebration of the ancient Persian New Year. Persians and other Indo-Iranian groups start preparing for Nowruz with a major spring cleaning of their houses and the purchase of new clothes to wear for the new year. They visit the elders of the family, then the rest of their family and finally their friends. On the 13th day, families leave their homes and picnic outdoors. Now, obviously that celebration is going to be modified, or I pray that it's going to be modified with the current global public health outbreak. So whether you're celebrating spring, your ancestors, spring, fertility, may we all do so mindfully and still sense our connection to everyone, even if we're not able to be out and about in direct contact with everyone during this time. It also says that it's International Day of Francophonie, which is cool because I practice my French with my friend. We do voice messages. If you got another language, you have access to one, why not? Let's keep our brain vital. All right. Usually with my videos, I use a points of view tool, which is a product recognized by the International Coaching Federation and used globally. And I am still going to do that today. However, today is different. Instead of including you as part of the process, I'm actually going to share a process because I've never done that. So you can have an example of what a process could be, what it looks like. It also was so moving and powerful, this process I did yesterday, that I have to share it. Yesterday was a special day. We, as a global tribe with the Points of View community, so for those who don't know, Points of View is a company, a 14-year-old company that creates tools and trainings for creativity and development, fusing photography, life coaching, and mindfulness through games that you can use light or deep in a professional or personal setting. Yesterday, there was a gathering on Zoom with all Points of View tribe members and any friends, anyone interested. It was a very powerful session with over 400, even up to 500 people. It was so beautiful to come together as a community and to reflect and share. And this is something that's going to happen every week, and anyone can join. But I'll tell you how to do that at the end. We did a process called the Windows of Gratitude by a beautiful master Points of View facilitator, Marek. And I'm going to share that with you. So it's called the Windows of Gratitude. And, you know, there's lots of ways of looking at gratitude. A very simple, powerful way is the concept of being in a forest. And you can see this tree that has fallen, a beautiful 300-year-old tree. You're like, oh, this beautiful tree. Even if it was a 100-year-old tree, just putting your focus there on the lack of and the sorrow when you're in a forest and there's thousands of other trees. So there's that concept of dwelling on a lack of, and it's the change of focus to abundance and gratitude and love. And so that's one concept. The Windows of Gratitude session, I'm going to read a bit off my laptop. Happiness is really how I choose to live my life, everyday life, how I see myself and what I have, to see myself from a fuller perspective. We all have the 4 dimensions of gratitude within us. Every day we can choose to open each window more and more to let more warmth and light reach us. These 4 perspectives allow us to look at ourselves in the past, now, and the future. And the process is called the Windows of Gratitude. It is inspired by the book called To Enjoy Life by Dr. Piotr Kwiatek, a Polish positive psychologist, psychotherapist, and monk. So that's where this perspective and process came from. Now, in the past, when I've shared Points of View with you, we were doing random cards. So you frame a topic, pick a card, and see what's presented in that card. There are some processes, kind of like oracle cards, where there are different cards you pick for different topics. So the frame topic is gratitude. And I had such a powerful session, I want to share it with you. The first card, the first window of gratitude, is called the Window of Extraordinary Gifts. Sometimes we plan them, sometimes they are unexpected but precise. It is always a decision how we live them. So I picked all my cards face down, and the card I got for the Window of Extraordinary Gifts was this card. And before the word, I'm seeing a young child reach for something that they prefer. So there was pumpkin seeds, there was pecans, there's gummies. There's even the cigarettes here that I didn't notice till yesterday. So perhaps the caregiver smokes or the person there smokes. So all this variety of what to reach and grab for. I'm seeing the abundance of selection and textures. I'm seeing natural things like the pecans and the sunflower seeds, but also man-made candy that is not necessarily healthy for the body with dyes, and also disguised ingredients like gelatin, animal hooves, cartilage, and bones. So lots of choice. And the way I saw this for my spiritual gifts is that one of the biggest gifts that I have in my lifetime, or right now, is I'm getting to choose to design and create my life. It is a huge gift. Being born in Canada already naturally puts me with more opportunity than my parents had in South America. I have not walked the path of having a mortgage or children, so that dependency on finances and my attention is not there. So my gift is to really be able to design and choose the next version and expression of how I'm walking and living my life. And that was the window of extraordinary gifts. The next window was the window of everyday ordinary gifts. So we can wait for extraordinary gifts, but they may not happen as often as we wish. So every day there are countless reasons to feel grateful for. So the small things that happen in our everyday life, even during these crazy times and spaces, what can we learn from in our everyday life? So the card that I picked was this one. So before I reveal the word, I picked this card. So what do I see? I see a footprint in the sand. I'm seeing light come from one side. It looks like maybe a sunset, and you're walking away from the sunset back to your blanket or person you went to the beach with. What I found fascinating about this card was we all know to make up a beach is billions and trillions of small grains of sand. So you have this existence of someone, a footprint, one person with the trillions of sand. But when in reality, the cells of the body and everything that makes up a human being is also trillions. So it's just like this strange ratio that's so fascinating of one versus trillions. Yes. So the word for this is intuition. And I was like, okay, I could definitely pick another word for that, maybe existence or presence. But I chose to roll with both the meaning of the foot and the word intuition. And the way I interpreted this card for my window of everyday ordinary gifts was for my body, like the foot, right away I was like, yep, I completely resonate with that, because I'm someone that likes to walk, dance, be active, do lots of yoga. And actually, just under a week ago, I somehow had a random blood blister, and too much information. I tried to deal with it, but it didn't really go well. So I wasn't able to walk properly and be as active with my yoga practice as I wanted to. As well, so I'm viewing this as to be grateful for my feet and for my body and for my one toe, because without that, it was holding me back. So that was very clear for me. Oh, also, being grateful for my intuitive nature of understanding that skill to be able to decide and know that I have wisdom within. And what I found really fascinating about this card is, again, it looks like the sun is shining from there, reflecting on the toes, But the foot, this person's walking away from the sun, which means, and is very relevant for this time and space, just because there's a bright, shiny thing over here, it's like, doesn't mean you have to look at it, which is very relevant in this time and space reality with the news. You know, one of the big challenges with our health is, yes, social distancing for physical health, but if we keep looking at the news and all these different informations, it can trigger anxiety and fear and affect our mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So I love that in this card, that sun is over here, but the footstep is walking that way, being intuitive to take care of themselves. So that was like definitely powerful. Window of everyday, ordinary gifts of my body, my gut feelings. The next window of gratitude is the window of spiritual gifts. The key to this window are your true spiritual belief. It doesn't matter which religion, power, or God you believe in. So it's the trust, the spiritual trust. Can we trust that everything will be okay? And what gives us peace? So this is the card I got. So what did I see? I saw someone submerged in water, possibly hot water because this person's skin is a bit red. I see some bubbles in the nose, and I saw some strange light. It could be a strange bath bomb, but it also could be very relaxing light happening. And at first I was like, oh, spiritual gifts, what does this mean? And yeah, I felt that looking at this card, it reminded me of being alone. And one of my spiritual gifts is I've always innately been an introspective person that doesn't see things for what they are. I'm someone interested in the details and diving deeper to understand the mysticism and what if, like just being a very curious person. And as a contemporary dancer and artist, I also see things in a more abstract way. So I know that's one of my spiritual gifts that this reminded me of, that, you know, going within. And with the bubbles, meaning that there is always breath, hope, possibility. What I also loved about this card is the water that's surrounding us. Let me reveal the word. The word was mediocrity, which means like average, kind of everyday, simple. What I also loved about that word, I'm like, what can be the spiritual aspect to this mediocrity word? And it came to me. We're more alike than we're unalike. With the water all around us, I was like remembering that humans are predominantly water, as with animals and plants. So we are more alike, and there's this spiritual union and connection between us all. And that was really powerful. The window of spiritual gifts. All of these windows of gratitude brought us to the final window, which is the window of difficult gifts. When faced with difficulties, is it possible to say thank you? This window is different than the others, as gratitude from this window grows as we develop, as we work out the issues and find trust in ourselves. So it's definitely an area that you may not understand right away, an area where the gratitude is only understood days later, weeks later, months later, years later. It's an area where we need to accept things first before we can reflect and welcome the gifts. So definitely relevant for these challenging times with the Global Public Health Advisory and how we're still figuring out with a lot of mystery, confusion, pain, and fear. So what card did I get? I got this card. So what did I see? I saw, it appears to be a man, but it may not be. I see a person with very dry, calloused feet. I see a very worn sandal. And in comparison to the polished marble floor, it's definitely a contrast. You know, this could be for many things. Someone that loves these shoes, wears them often, they're really comfortable. It also could be, I haven't showered in a while, I haven't put some beautiful lotion on my feet, or I've been wearing these shoes way too long. Maybe I can't afford new ones. Maybe I'm not able to find new ones. Who knows? The word was neglect. So, window of difficult gifts. This got me thinking a lot about not neglecting what's important to me, like my health. It had that correlation with the window of everyday gratitude, which is totally fascinating. That's why I was so inspired to share, because there was 2 cards about the feet. So how does this difficult window of what difficult gift I'm grateful for relate with that one? Yeah, reminding me to not neglect what's important to me, my health, my family, my friends, my dreams during this time of isolation. Also, this foot reminds me of an elder, which is again even more profound with the relevance, because we all have heard by now that it's our elders that are more vulnerable to this global public health situation. So let's not neglect our elders, people with compromised immune systems during this time. So I was like, whoa, let me not neglect what's going on in my life as we shift our focus and have to adjust our lifestyles. But let's also not neglect the elders and be respectful of that, even if we feel good, to still take the measures needed to plateau the curve, which is not the proper saying, but I can't think right now. So there is the window of gratitude, an exercise that evokes reflection on all the different levels. And there's this cute little chart that you can use, that I use in workshops when you attend a points of view workshop. And the cool thing is the last part of the exercise was to look at the 4 cards and give a title to it. So the title I gave my cards was Walk Within, because I had the two feet cards, which was all about, thanks James, flatten the curve. When you're live, sometimes your brain doesn't work. I had the 2 cards with feet. So that's how I got the concept of the term walk. And then walk within, we had the bath, which was someone having that private time, introspection, and then someone choosing for themselves. So that's an internal choice. So the title I gave my gratitude process was Walk Within. But they will have to wait. I'm almost near the end. So the insight I got was to walk within, honor myself, and like any coaching process, especially with points of view, you're asked to, what is a doing action you can take in 24 hours, in a week, and a month? So my 24-hour decision was to practice some yoga and celebrate my vitality. The goal for the week is to not ignore my elders, my parents, and just see what I can do to help them. There's always renovations and tasks that are easier done together. And then my goal for a month about walking within is to get to a level of development with one of my wellness offerings, to maybe go into the next stage of graphic design and bringing more people into my dream and mission. Thank you. I know this was long. If you got to the end, I hope you saw value in it. And if you're curious to learn more about points of view, give me a message. No question is off the charts. If you're curious to have sliding scale coaching by me, it is super fun, and I would love to work with you and talk with you. There's actually a digital version of the Points of View cards. I will put in the link below and in the notes. And other than that, if you're curious about Points of View, find Points of View Canada on social media or pointsofviewcanada.ca. Also, every week, whether you have done a certification with Points of View or not, the company is paying it forward in this time of need and isolation. Let's come together and reflect and uplift our spirits and mindsets. So if you're curious, they're called On-Stage Uplifting Sessions. They happen weekly. So just go on Facebook and find Points of You, Y-O-U, and you'll see some posts about how to join the Zoom. And it's really, really wonderful to gain insights and tools and methodologies you can take back to your family. Until then, keep being your best, being and doing. Oh my gosh, I just realized that someone watching James, this is James's shirt. And I chose to wear something colorful. I was like, what can I get to bring things a little more upbeat during these times? I've spoken many words, so I will just leave you in peace of body, peace of speech, and peace of mind through the Sanskrit chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.